Hello, good evening.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening, and welcome to the second annual State of Homelessness presentation. Just a little housekeeping. Restrooms can be found outside of the hall and to your left. I just want to thank everyone for being here this evening. My name is Kim Rome, and I found out this morning I was pinch hitting as our master of ceremony, so I'm a proud member of the board of the Rhode Island Coalition to End Homelessness. First, I want to thank my fellow board members for being here, Kathy Pierce, Alex Spurdelozzi, and Taisha West. I also want to acknowledge the elected officials and staff joining us this evening. Cassandra Flores from Senator Jack Reed's office, Assistant Housing Secretary Hannah Moore, Senator Stan Bell, Representative David Morales, Senator Tiara Mack, Providence City Council President Rachel Miller, Rafael Silva and Victoria Spencer from Senator Whitehouse's office, staff from Mayor Graven's office in Pawtucket, and everyone else in attendance. I apologize if I've missed anyone completely unintentional. Senator Jack Reed was unable to join us in person this evening, but will be able to share comments later in the program by recorded message. We're also very pleased to be joined by, we were previously joined by former Congressman David Cicilline, who is now, of course, the president of the Rhode Island Foundation, and we are also joined by Courtney Nicolato from the United Way of Rhode Island. This event would not be possible without our program sponsors, whom I'd like to recognize. Integra Community Care Network, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Rhode Island, Federal Home Loan Bank of Boston, Navigant Credit Union, the Providence City Council, Rhode Island Housing, Senator Jack Reed, the Jewish Alliance of Greater Rhode Island, Lifespan, Neighborhood Health Plan of Rhode Island, and Washington Trust Bank. Thank you, sponsors, for your commitment and support of our work. For those of you just getting to know us, the Rhode Island Coalition to End Homelessness works collaboratively with advocates, service providers, faith-based organizations, and state and local leaders to create and advance lasting solutions to prevent and end homelessness. We do this through training, legal clinics, and advocacy programs. The coalition also manages the day-to-day operations of the state's Homeless Management Information System, or HMIS. This is a statewide shared database of individuals at risk or currently experiencing homelessness. Currently, 40 organizations and over 200 licensed users leverage the system to gather information and coordinate care and services to those in need. The coalition also manages the statewide system for permanent housing placement, known as the Coordinated Entry System. This includes operation of a call center available 365 days a year, where those in need of services are connected with a live person who is trained to assess and connect them with the intervention and services necessary to efficiently and effectively end their homelessness. But sometimes it is not possible. You may need to wait. There may not be housing suitable for your specific needs. There may be no available shelter beds. Unfortunately, this call center is not the kind where if you do not get the answer you like, you can ask to speak to a manager for an expedient solution. The data presented to you this evening comes from this system, a system telling the stories of people who have fallen on hard times, eviction, addiction, victims of domestic violence, lack of affordable housing. We present this as data, but our work is driven by the people who make up these numbers. One of the things you'll hear tonight is the point in time count, which is an annual state count mandated by HUD on a single night in January. It takes place from Westerly to Woonsocket and in every town in between. Last January, our point in time count reported 1,809 people experiencing homelessness in our state. That is 1,809 humans who did not have a permanent home. They were sleeping in a shelter, on a friend's couch, in their car, or perhaps outside. Think about that. 1,809 Rhode Islanders on a single night. The state of homelessness in Rhode Island is dire, but there is hope. In this room, we have gathered an amazing community of service providers, advocates, legislators, and community leaders who are working collaboratively to address this current crisis. You will hear remarks tonight from Assistant Secretary Hannah Moore from the Rhode Island Department of Housing, where they have committed to a winter shelter strategy with a more than 30% increase in shelter beds for this winter. Their plan also focuses on prevention and supportive services necessary to address this crisis, and we are grateful for their partnership. It will take all of us in this room to build a future where no Rhode Islander is unhoused, and everyone experiencing homelessness has the proper resources and support to get their lives back on track. This evening is only the beginning of the conversation. With that, I'd like to introduce you to one of those amazing community members working to prevent and end homelessness in Rhode Island. Adriel Falowo is a Rhode Island native born and raised in Pawtucket. He is currently one of the coordinators for the Youth Action Board, one of the advocacy projects of the coalition. Adriel takes great pride in the work of the Youth Advisory Board to end youth homelessness, and particularly the involvement of youth in planning and implementing at all levels. Please join me in welcoming Adriel.
Thank you for having me. You heard my name is Adriel. It's nice to meet all of you. And I'm a co-coordinator for the Youth Action Board, which some of you might know what that is, but basically is a board of youth gathered in Rhode Island, started by Youth in Action, another organization where we work with the YSGP and like a bunch of other partners, and we basically do work like trying to fight against youth homelessness in Rhode Island. And I think that a lot of that has been really impactful in my life, and like hearing about it and learning about it, because I know like a lot of the people making up the board have like a lot of lived experience, and also a lot of things that like have gone in ways that they probably would not have wanted it to. And so being able to like help and work towards like a new goal, or like a new goal for Rhode Island with like youth homelessness and like being able to help people, I feel like it really is impactful to me and all the other people on the board. We do a lot of like work relating towards like when it comes to, I don't know if you can, sorry, but when it comes to like site visits, and we're working on things that like, so it's not just that we're just like doing work for them, but we also like want to know how they feel about it, and like how like it's working for them and impacting them. So just making sure that through like visiting their sites, making sure that they're getting what they need, user surveys, so like they can tell us how they feel, what they need, and like how it's going. And then also we're planning on doing listening sessions with the youth, which are basically, I think we know what listening sessions are. So a lot of that work I feel can be very like helpful for them, I hope, because it is a lot, and I feel like everybody on the board works really hard to make sure that like these youth are getting what they need and that we're doing, like, we're providing that and also like working towards helping them in that. So I guess that's it.
I'd like to introduce Assistant Secretary of Housing, Hannah Moore. Hannah also serves as the Executive Director of the Housing Resources Commission. She previously served as the Assistant Secretary of Commerce for the state of Rhode Island. She's been instrumental in leading the Department of Housing to hit the ground running and helping to create a winter shelter program alongside Governor McKee and Secretary Pryor. Please join me in welcoming Deputy Secretary Hannah Moore.
Thank you so much, Kim, and hi everyone. Thank you for having me tonight. I'm here representing the Department of Housing and Secretary Pryor. Secretary Pryor really wished he could have been here tonight, but he had a prior commitment. So I'm here to mainly express gratitude and to so many of you for everything that you're doing. It feels, like looking at so many of you, I just know how much work you're all putting in, and it is hard work, right? But here we are, we keep doing it. And you all, I think, you keep some of us who have the cushy office jobs going. So thank you all. Thank you for those who are doing this professionally, day in and day out. Thank you to those who are volunteering, to those who are showing up at public hearings, legislative hearings, community board meetings. It matters, and it is, it makes all the difference. We need more of that. I also want to say thank you to those who haven't even figured out their ways that they're going to contribute. Because I know that, as Kim was saying, we have so much more work to do. We know that there are so many Rhode Islanders who don't have a home, who are worried about losing their homes, and we know that our work is just not done, right? So we say thank you both to acknowledge the work and to make sure we can keep going. So thank you. I do also want to say that now that we have a housing department, we do aim to keep coordinating better and better over time. But again, we not only say thank you, but we need everybody. We need everybody working at this together, and that can take so many different forms. But I'll share a little bit about some of the needs and some of what we're doing to address the needs right now. So, as Kim mentioned, we did recently announce a winter shelter strategy that really focuses on 3 things. Number 1, prevention. Number 2, expansion. And number 3, collaboration. So on the prevention front, and this is something that we need to continue to pursue, but right now we are funding legal services for any Rhode Islander who makes under 80% of AMI, who can get help keeping their home through legal services. We are continuing to fund even more around problem-solving, housing problem-solving, where people can figure out the ways that they can support and tap into their own networks. We're also, on the expansion front, we are announcing that we are adding hundreds more beds so that Rhode Islanders can come out of the cold, and we'll have more work to do to keep these going year-round so that we can save lives together and continue to build even more towards permanent solutions. On the collaboration front, I'm extraordinarily grateful for so many of you in this room and beyond who are working together, working with cities and towns, saying, where do you want to do this? How do we come up with a plan to do this together? So what about plan A, plan B, plan C? Working together with our faith communities especially, who've been tremendous in trying to find ways to say this is a moral imperative, we have to continue to do this. So on a slightly longer term note, we do have a lot more work to do to keep building more permanent housing, and I'm so pleased to see some of the steps that we're taking. A new low-income housing tax credit in the state of Rhode Island. $30 million a year for the next 5 years. We know we need to continue to make these investments year after year. That is a real sign of progress. All those units are to come, though. We're not here yet. Additionally, pleased that the legislature, and thanks to the Speaker's leadership, continue to pass an enormous set of bills to keep making it easier to build here in Rhode Island. And I'll also even for the administrative nerds among us, and big shout out to Rhode Island Housing, adding new preferences for building extremely low-income units and the units for those who have experienced homelessness. So we're going to continue to stay at this, but we have so much more to do together. I just want to say thank you to all, and we're here to partner and continue to do this better. Thank you, friends.